It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, whether you're at home or you are in diaspora. I'm super delighted to welcome you to another insightful episode of Property Matters here on YouTube. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, my name is Adijari. I am your number one real estate investment specialist here in the beautiful city of Lagos. In case you're seeing a video like this and you're wondering what Property Matter is all about, Property Matter is a YouTube real estate talk show where we, number one, give you the current and recent development of activities surrounding the Lagos State real estate market. We go further to give you due diligence reports as well as giving you all the necessary indices and, of course, the realities of what is going on in the Nigerian real estate market. Over time, we've done an extensive videos and episodes on land titles, document verifications, how to identify land documents all by yourself. We've even gone further to discuss the Ekpe real estate market, where we expose, our listeners and of course and our viewers to different categories and typologies of Ekpe land. We've also talked extensively on different real estate projects like off-plan and shortlets. Using our indices, we've explained locations where off-plan are very, very profitable and where shortlets can give you your desired return. So Property Matter is a real estate surgical room where we'll dissect and we'll give you the present reality of what is obtainable in the Lagos State real estate market. So what you need to do for us, and of course, as a sign of support that you love what we're doing and you want us to continue, is to please hit the subscription button, turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, a very important personality like you will obviously be the first to see. So I'll be back immediately after this short commercial. So please grab yourself a cold coffee, a glass of coffee or a glass of wine, relax, and I'll be back. Don't go nowhere.
It's another beautiful day, my wise investors. Welcome to Amen Estate Phase 3. Amen Estate Phase 3 gives you the opportunity to own a residential plot where you are free to build your own desired structure in line with the building codes and regulation of the estate and the Lagos State. This estate is located at Abdominity Zone Lekki Ekpe Expressway and the title is C of O with just 2 million naira. You can key in into this lifetime investment plan. For more details, kindly call the number below the caption of this video. Thank you. Own a piece of it.
All right, you're welcome back. Once again, I'm Ade Jare. And of course, one of the way you can show and of course, approve us is by subscribing. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you've seen several videos on this channel, you've gotten several information on this channel, do well to subscribe so that, the more you subscribe, the more we reach more people. And the more we reach more people, the more people get all the necessary information that will help them, make the right real estate investment. And also, we are also a real estate expert. We help Nigerians, whether you're in Nigeria or you're in diaspora, to secure safe and of course profitable real estate investment across different parts of the state. So in case you're looking forward to buy your dream house, your dream land, you can of course contact us and you'll be glad you did. While we were still counting the losses of people who lost their houses at the Ajao, of course the recent demolitions that happened in Ajao, it was also sad to find out that of course Ajao was actually a child's play, that government had several intentions to visit other places. In my previous video, I mentioned, and I'm going to explain what I meant by this. I mentioned that in as much as fact that you don't have a document or a title on your property, anything is still possible. It was more or less like a word of prophecy, but I really don't dictate or understand the operation of Lagos State government. Just last few days ago, the people of Okiogun community area of Ibeju Lekki also woke up to the sounds of caterpillars and sirens of armed military men. And to their greatest surprise, they also saw that government have also, made moves to do what? To demolish some of their properties. Although this Okiogun saga has been on for like 2 to 3 years. Of course, in one of my videos, I gave an instance, and from my video, you saw that some of the affected residents of this community gathered themselves in group and they went to the Lagos State Government Secretariat at Alausa Ikeja to protest and, of course, to express their concerns and grievances over their marked portion of land. Ideally, you would have thought that with that protest and every other thing, government would have, okay, let's say perhaps let us exempt these people. At least they have nowhere to go. It's a sad news. It's really nothing to be excited about. Even I myself, giving this information, I'm hot deep down because I understand the cost of building, of erecting a property, and I hate when I see people count their loss due to government policies as regards demolition. So few days ago, like 2 days now, the government officials and, of course, the Lagos State Building Management Control with armed security men stormed Okeokun community and they started pulling down structures. We would have loved to go in and, of course, capture the whole, events so that we can see it. But in most cases, whenever demolition exercise is being going on, there are many armed security men, and in most cases, if you try to force your way inside, you will find yourself at kirikiri. And so most times when there is demolition, people are always advised to stay off so that you would not be charged for trying to do what stop government from doing what they came there to do. So after this short break, I'll be showing you a video of a woman who actually expressed her concern, and of course some of the residents of the Okeogun community. Like I said initially, it is not something to be excited about, and of course owing to the fact that accommodation is being short in supply and the available ones are very expensive. The masses and, of course, the low income earners have a specific accommodation that they can afford. Now if you see people going far to the point that they're buying their own property and they're building their house, and of course they are actually solving the problem of accommodation, we would have expected that these government officials would have put this into consideration and give them the opportunity to do some ratifications so that they can have their house and their structures, which they spent a whole lot of money to erect. It is so painful that obviously that the reverse happens to be the case. And from the video you are going to see, you will understand the pain that the residents of Okeogun community area of Ibeju Lekki are presently going through. The demolition exercise I'm talking to you right now is still ongoing, and there are lots of issues which I'll be addressing immediately after this short break. So please stay tuned. Now, in case you're seeing a video like this for the first time, this is where we expose you to everything you need to know about real estate, from property purchase, land documentation, and we have other videos whereby you can watch at your leisure time. I can assure you that you have, and of course, an insightful and of course good information on how the Lagos State real estate market works. I'll see you after this short video, and of course we'll round it up from there.
Hello. Money property in Bibai. So, and I brought it from the Oloto family, which they have their red copy of the survey. One day, the money boundary with Owuye family. Owuye family was the one who want to sell their land to other properties, but they are taking the conflict between them to encroach on other family land, which they have already started. From this axis now, they have been going down to Okegunbale. They have gone beyond their boundary. Wọ́n ti ń bọ́ sí Okegunbale, lọ sínú Moscow, lọ sínú ti Kazeem, lọ sínú gbogbo àwọn ẹlẹ́mọ̀rọ̀. There is a canal in between us that there is their boundary. They have already beyond the boundary. Right now, enough is enough. And they are claiming that it's Sanwo-Olu and Soviet General. But Yagoro, all of you should come out. If you don't have had in this, enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Going to the last coverage, understand? If it is ratification, we are ready to do ratification. Yeah. But for them to listen to us, that is how they send our people out. And after in the election now, they will not be saying, you want to collect Lagos, another one to collect. To move aside that, we want the president elect to come and address us. We want everybody. Everybody, all that's something in Lagos State. Those people are the aim of our affair. They come and address us. If they didn't address us, it can lead to another thing. By tomorrow, we are going to stop them. We are mobilizing them, and we are going to see. We don't want to take law into our hands. But if they didn't address us, if Lagos State fails to address us, it will release a big massacre. It will be more than Lekki.
Yeah.
All right. From the video you have just seen, although we intend to go further to give you in-depth information so that you can understand the policies, that controls real estate activities in Lagos, Nigeria. Our sincere apologies or our sincere sympathy goes to these people. But today we are going to be outlining what actually resulted to the demolition of these houses at Okeogun community area of Ibeju Lekki. From the foregoing analysis, you will recall earlier this year that I did a series on the Okeogun community, the first phase of demolition that happened. And I went further to show you a video of how able-bodied men gathered themselves in their numbers and they went straight away to the Lagos State Secretariat at Alausai Ikeja to express their grievances and also appeal to the Lagos State government not to demolish their houses. One would have thought that these simple protests would have averted the current demolition that is ongoing today. But you can see that the reverse is obviously the case. And this is why ourself and my crew that we try as much as we can to do an extensive due diligence whenever we're making property recommendations. Somebody was asking, are you using this opportunity to market? No, I'm not using my opportunity. I'm just telling you that you have a brand that can help you ensure the safety of your property before you paid for. But that is not what we're discussing. So let's quickly talk about the Okeogun demolition exercise. When the demolition was on, the way it's been done in Lagos, Nigeria, that Lagos State came with heavy security forces, and you obviously can't, force yourself in, and that's why we can only. The pictures we got was even from one of the residents that actually snapped it and sent it to us, so that we can compile this report and, of course, make sure that you are well informed. So you don't force your way in when the demolition exercise is going. If you do, you'll be arrested for trespassing, and of course, you don't want to spend most of your time and of course months at Kirikiri. More importantly, when both sides or both parties are not in good terms. So that was why we could not even show you the images of caterpillar pulling down to, of course, from the images and of course some of the things we've been able to show, you will understand that we tried our best. But let's go to the reason why these structures were demolished. Now, I've always said this before. According to the Lagos State Land Use Act of 1978, all lands belongs to the government. And it doesn't matter whether you're buying from the family or you're buying from a developer. In as much as fact that the land does not have a title, you still have a case or you still have to go to the government for title. Now, a lot of investors need to understand that the Ibeju Lekki community is a community, or the Ibeju Lekki local government in general is a place where government interest lies. You have seen that they have the free trade zone, the refinery is there, the airport is coming up. So there's no way government will overlook what many people think they should overlook. Government interest is there. They have, when you chart some places in the Ibeju Lekki, you see some lands that government have reserved for industrial city. You've seen lands that government have reserved for their own residential scheme. Of course, government will be building residential apartments in Ibeju Lekki. So there are some places that have been reserved for that, and there are other places. So if There are places that government will not pay attention to. That place can certainly not be Ibeju Lekki. Ibeju Lekki is an area of interest, and you need to understand this. So what am I driving at? Number one, when you're buying a land, now some of the properties that were demolished were properties that were sold by some of the families and of course the people of Okeogun community area of Ibeju Lekki. And of course, from the video, you saw the dear woman calling the name of some families, the people that sold to her. Now, in most cases, I know a whole lot of real estate, experts or real estate consultants or real estate agents might have told you that in as much as fact that a land has a red copy survey, it passes the test of what? Of not being demolished. Now, you need to understand basically that under the Lagos State Land Regulation Law, it is very important that a document on a land is perfected. And you also need to understand that there are some important rules that you need to put into consideration. From our investigation, we found out that some places in that Okeogun community were committed to different government projects. Now, the family that owns this land are saying that under no circumstances does government have the right to put their ancestral lands under acquisition. Now, you need to understand that when you're buying real estate in Lagos, Nigeria, for the fact that you're buying or some people claim to have legal right over that property, you need to do what we call, you need to go to the town planning unit of the Lagos State government alongside Ikeja to do what we call an environmental search on that community. And this environmental search or this location analysis search will help you know the project that is coming in to that community. This location analysis will help you know the number of places that government have separated for this project. This location analysis will help you know, and you get to have this information at the town planning department of Lagos State Building Management Control at alongside Ikeja. It is very wrong for you to see a land that a family is selling and you buy without understanding the purpose. Look at what will happen to some residents in Aja now. Once the fourth mainland bridge comes up, a whole lot of structures will also be pulled down. Although the Lagos State government said they have good packages, good refund packages that will help them, okay? The government intends to compensate them when their projects are built or when their projects are demolished. Apologies for that. But all these things can be averted. And that is why we're always saying that when you're buying real estate, you need to work with somebody who understands this. Now, I'm not trying to say that government is right, but the major reason why these structures were put down, according to information, is that they said that place is committed. Now, when you look at the Okeogun community is just 5-minute proximity to the proposed international airport. And I know, in fact, it's even adjacent. It's not so far from this proposed international airport. One investor called me and he was making some analysis. And I told this investor that Okeogun is not so far from the, in fact, when you look at Okeogun, Ayetoro, these are places sharing boundaries with this project. So government is going to be very, very harsh when it comes to land policies. Now, when family sells land to you, if you're a real estate investor, because I know a whole lot of people that bought lands, for those who started investing earlier in real estate, they bought properties from land. Now, you need to understand that most of these family members may not be aware of the present status of their property. All they can tell you categorically is that this land belongs to my father, this land belongs to my grandfather, I inherited this from my mother. Now, majority of them do not know that all lands belong to the government, and majority of them are not aware that there might be some portion of that land that has been reserved for future government projects that will be coming into that region. And that is why, as an investor, before you pay for a land, collect the survey, or most times Send a surveyor there. Let the surveyor pick the coordinate. Let the surveyor prepare like a temporary survey. Let them go and chart that place. More importantly, if you're buying properties that is in close proximity to this project, it is very wrong for you to just say this land is facing the road, I want to buy it. I'm not saying land facing the road are wrong. Please don't misquote me. Okay, some people say, thank God there's a project coming there, I want my there are some regulations that you need to know. Now, how to avoid future demolition, how not to fall into these circumstances. Number one, you must not always take people's word, whether you're buying from companies or you're buying from homeowners. Don't take their word for the granted. So if they tell you that there's no problem on the land, I've seen instances whereby we bought a property that was many years ago, they told us there was no problem. By the time we came back, we had to settle that case in court. So do your environmental due diligence, number one. Then number two, if they tell you a land has a particular title, now most times I've seen instances whereby homeowners don't just sell land to one person, they sell it to several other persons. Like say for instance, the total parcel of land on that estate may be maybe 10 acres. I that bought like maybe I bought like 2 or 3. I'm giving this as an instance. I bought like 2, 3 plots in that 3 acres. Now I can say, okay, fine. I don't want to face government problem in the future. I can go ahead and get a C of O on that property. Now the C of O is covering just my plots. Now when Omonile gets to find out that I have processed C of O on my own plot of land, which is just 3, which is not covering everything, Omonile will use that C of O to sell everything. So they will start telling investor, àti ṣe C of O lórí eléyìí, permit me to use Yoruba, àti ṣe C of O lórí eléyìí, ilẹ̀ yìí, and they will even increase the value of the land because the C of O is just within that plot. So you need to do your due diligence. That's number one. And it's, in most cases, they will tell you that you are not the only person they've sold properties to. They will say they've sold to this company, they've sold to this manager, which is true. Yeah, they might have done that. But you also need to understand that they are not selling one property to multiple people. I've seen instances whereby one portion of land was sold to like 8 people, and when one of the investors decided to start projects on his property, other people started coming out. So these are some of the things you need to put into consideration. Then you also need to confirm if there are no litigations on that land. Now, one of the ways you can ensure and confirm that a land does not have litigation, obviously, is to request for a survey and some papers that are on that land, and of course, take it to a nearby court within that vicinity. Okay, take it to a nearby court within that vicinity. Of course, whenever there's a case on the land, the documents of or copies of the document of those lands are mostly lodged, so they can help you check and find out if there are no litigations. Because if there are litigations and there are multiple people fighting over the control of the land, in most cases, this makes government not to grant title. This makes government not to. There have been instances whereby this person is fighting, this person is fighting. For government not to be taking side, they would rather not, grant title. And in fact, in worst case scenario, government can even change the status of that land and make it acquisition. Do you understand? So these are some of the things that you want to put into consideration. So in summary, our heartfelt sympathy goes to the residents of Okiogun. Now, the lady in that video said they have a red copy survey on the land, and the red copy survey, to an extent, to her guarantees some level of safety on that property. I've seen instances whereby some people will tell you, we have this particular document on that land. In most cases, the documents that they claim may not even be registered at lands, because a property has a red copy survey is obviously, according to the Lagos State Land Use Act, regulates some measure of safety, but it's not how you have to go further. And this is to advise investors. See, dear real estate investors, in case you're seeing this video, you know how passionately I'm saying this is because of the fact that I don't want you people to lose money. Real estate developers that understand that Lagos State is so keen on title will not send land anyhow. Real estate developers or real estate companies that knows that when all this infrastructure, the airport, the refinery, and the likes kicks off, Ibeju Lekki is going to become the raw gold. These people know that the land they have is an asset, is a gold. It can make them more money. And they understand that the recent demolition at Okiogun community will not be the last. There will be several. And they know very well that the only places government will not, go and touch are places where they are C of O, governor's consents, government allocations, and gazettes. So if you see them having this property, they don't sell anyhow. So what am I trying to say in essence is that stay away from cheap properties in Ibeju Lekki. No reasonable person will sell property in Ibeju Lekki now for 150,000, for 750,000, for 1.5 million. If they're selling 1.5 or they're selling lesser, just know that that land has so many hidden issues. So if you have the opportunity to buy C of O, if you cannot afford it, go for payment plan. If you have the opportunity to buy gazette, if you cannot afford it, go for. See, right now, I have to be very, very realistic. Ibeju Lekki is not a place where you go and do cheap properties. And if you are perfecting your title, if you have, let's say, you have a register survey, red copy, so don't stop there. Go further. And like I said, today is Ibeju Lekki. Only God knows where it will be next. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode of Property Matters. Now we have properties in our portfolio that has C of O, that has government allocation, that has gazettes, that has all this within our portfolio. Don't say it's expensive. See, it is better you buy an expensive property, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the property will serve a purpose which you have purchased it for, rather than to go for cheap properties and government will carry caterpillar in the next day and break it. Like I said, title properties and Ibeju Lekki is very high, but to me, as far as I'm concerned, I prefer to buy something that is tight. Even if I have to pay for 1 year, I have to pay for 24 months. The most important thing is that the guarantee and the safety of the property is what matters, not the price. So people will not sell property anyhow again now, especially when it's a title property. In fact, expect to buy title properties in Ibeju Lekki as from 50 million this year. So on places where they have on title properties or they're selling freehold and the likes, you're on your own. No, I personally will not recommend on title properties for you in Ibeju Lekki. Personally, I'm saying this because of the fact that thank God we've not fallen into any form of trouble, and I will never fall into the trouble. And that's why I usually come online to explain. If it is 10 million your money can carry, 5 million your money can carry, go to Ekpe, chart the land, find out the place is fine, and you can buy and perfect. Don't say you want to buy 5 million in Ibeju Lekki. It will have come out. Ibeju Lekki has gone beyond that stage. So this is why I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode. Our sympathy goes to the people of Okiogun community of Ibeju Lekki. So the reason why their projects were put down was because of the fact that they built on what majority of from our zoning and from the information we gathered from some of the officials. They told us that larger part of the Okiogun community is a committed acquisitions, and people who bought did not understood that you don't buy committed acquisition, and if you buy, there are some levels of due diligence and some things you need to do. So please, real estate investor, this is one of the reasons why it's quite unfortunate, but this is why we're going to draw the curtain of today's episode. Of course, if you want to buy safe and genuine properties, you can call on us. Have a nice day. See you in my next video. God bless you.